Hello, Pacific Northwest Conference. This is Jill Riley with JD Tool. JD is on an adventure that is going to eventually take him to Alaska. We are together today to tell you a little bit about that. The Pacific Northwest Conference has a long-standing relationship with Alaska and with partnerships. Our men's ministries has been up building things there and just in many different avenues. It's really a sister conference for us. And so we are just excited that one of the PAC Northwest Conference has been called to serve there. So tell me a little bit about your calling to serve and what you are going to be doing.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jill, and the whole team for having me on. This is awesome. So a little background of who I am. I was born and raised in the church, and just I've loved Jesus my whole life. Mark Knight in the Pacific Northwest Conference, shout out to him. He's awesome. Praise Covenant Church, and he was my youth pastor growing up, and now he's my pastor, and just really took a hold of me and just brought me in and just was like, yeah, you can do ministry. And I was like, okay, great. What do I do? And he's like, well, you got to go to school. I was like, you can actually go to school for this? So I ended up, I did community college in Tacoma and then transferred to North Park University undergrad, but now just really felt called to do more mission work. And this is, really the big call of Alaska. It's a more of a mission minded field. And, this position in particular, working in a house and that is really more called to just on the ground missionary, getting it messy with people's lives.
You've spent about the past 8 years in youth ministry, right?
Yeah, I started in California during COVID and was able to work with Art Greco and just an amazing man and continue to pray and discern because Pacific Northwest my home. And so it was
Mhm.
a great season to be in the sunny California during COVID when everything is shut down because you can just be outside all the time. But it still wasn't home. But really, I mean, the whole dream is just to continue to listen to God. This position in Alaska is really aimed toward more the relational side, which is
Mhm.
really what I'm all about.
Tell us a little bit where this came from and what you're going to be doing that you know.
Yeah, so this is a great story. So I go to midwinter. So I show up and I go into class, and my first person I see was my old college roommate from North Park named Alex Chacos. And so I was like, "Yeah, what's up? How are we doing?" And so he works in the Alaskan conference. He's a youth pastor up there. And so he's like, "Come have dinner with us." And so I had dinner with the whole Alaskan conference. Kind of learned a lot about what kayak was and how they're a ministry that supports people in Alaska, but really also support the natives, right? And really support the villages and really do amazing work and outreach through, covenant ministries to these villages. So I'm like, this is just really cool and unique and really cool to dive into their culture. So shortly after the conference, and they called me. So I went up and visited for a weekend, did a retreat with them and just really felt connected to do relational ministry in Alaska. So the Aarigaa House is exactly that. It's young adults. Alaska, I feel like, is a little bit ahead of the curve of what, students are to do right out of high school. More and more students are taking gap years. And so this really is highlighted for, 19, 20 to, what I said, 30-year-olds earlier. And it takes them in for a couple years and really helps them get on their feet and to be able to my main role I see is just pouring into them spiritually, pouring into them of what their dream is. Colleges nearby, there's a Alaskan Christian College,
Mhm.
ACC, there's Admiston Education Center, which is like a trade school. So that's where we'd like to pour into, and make that connection happen. Some of them may be just working, or some of them may just be, taking the step to move forward in their life. And some of them, all they've known is about 10, 12 people. They're coming from villages from all over Alaska, and they have a very small connection. And this big town of Soldotna, this is a big move. This is a big
Mhm.
play. And so for me to, be a part of that and kind of build community is the big first step. You get into their stories, and some of their stories are a lot more challenging than, maybe you see from the outside, and just love them and be there for them and be a part of the community and make, new community,
Yeah,
and be able to let them know that no, that isn't the dream. That isn't your life. That was and is a part of your life, but it's not your ultimate dream and not your
right.
calling. And so
Not your future.
and
Yeah.
not your future. And really, so it's a special place where there's tons of natural resources and tons of beauty and tons of this amazing land. Yet
Mhm.
it's a really dark place at times,
Yeah.
literally dark, because of the lack of sunlight plays a lot into some of this. Alaska, right now has about 18 hours of light, flip flop that in about 6 months. But I truly believe that God has given me a gift of joy and a gift of a deep relationship with Christ that, that will propel me forward. So again, just a unique space where people need relationships with Jesus, and it's a cool opportunity.
Well, we are excited for and with you. And as a conference, we'd like to connect you with support. And so, if people want to support you as a missionary to Alaska through kayak, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. And again, just thank you so much for having me on and being able to share this. So through the website, there's called CYAK.org, which we've mentioned before. And then there is donations. So the whole organization is run off of donations. And so really appreciate it if you're able to go on there and sign up and be able to give financially. If you have questions regarding that, you could even reach out to me. Monthly giving is the best. Also, I do a monthly update through
Mhm.
email. If you're interested in that, I'm sure we can set you up and share my contact
Yeah,
information.
absolutely.
You can shoot me an email, shoot me a text, and say, "Yeah, I want to learn more." I just love to share what God's doing, and so that's a huge part of me. And then, of course, join me, like I said, in prayer and collab. If you have questions or you want to get involved in any way, reach out to us. Reach out
Yes.
to Pac Northwest. Reach out to me. Reach out to the Alaskan Conference. There's tons of ways to get involved, and it's not just your money.
And so if you as a church and or as an individual would like to get involved in this mission calling that JD has on his life, we would welcome that and invite you to participate in that way. So JD, thank you so much for your time. We just wish every good blessing on you and on your fundraising and as you go, and you'll keep us up to date.
Awesome. Go Mariners. Go Seahawks, baby. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Jill.